Hey guys, how's it going? Back with another episode of Unchained with the Captain. I'm the Captain, and with me is my esteemed colleague, Doerle.
The Doerle.
The Doerle, yes. The Doerle. The definitive The Doerle, as opposed to the indefinite A
Or at least
Doerle.
the local chapter of the Doerle.
Fair enough. So, we went to see Godzilla. Like 2 hours ago?
Just a few hours ago.
Yeah, we just got back.
Second weekend of the new theatrical release of Godzilla that made close to $93 million on its first weekend. Very, very hyped movie. Very, very highly hyped amongst us as well.
Yes, the trailer was great.
The trailer was incredible. And there's quite a few things about the movie that I would have to say were incredible. Now, there's a few things about the movie that I'd have to say were not so incredible. I was a bit disappointed. Yeah,
Nah.
No, we take it from the beginning. We've got Bryan Cranston.
Oh, okay, wait. Before we get into this, spoiler alert, this whole thing is going to be spoilers. We're not going to pull any punches with this. So, if you haven't seen it yet, you want to see it, turn this off now.
That's Captain Morgan, Captain Courteous, trying to warn you. I'm not. I'm trying to warn you away from this movie.
All right, launch. Just go, man.
You know, I've been a fan of Godzilla since I was a child. I grew up on TBS Godzilla, and I was really disappointed by what I saw. But I'll explain why I was disappointed by what I saw. Let me first off start by saying last night I went on a small Godzilla marathon. I watched Godzilla versus the Thing, which is Godzilla versus Mothra, and then I also watched Mechagodzilla, some of the classic 1960s Godzilla movies. Really, really impressed by those as an adult, just as impressed as I was as a child. You know, and I went into this movie thinking, as long as it's better than the Sony version with Matthew Broderick, I'm going to be really happy about it.
I don't see how it could have been worse.
Oh, and it was far superior
absolutely.
to the Sony Matthew Broderick version. It truly, truly was.
Yeah.
Godzilla looked incredible. And there were some really neat scenes, him swimming in the water, him fucking shit up. But the whole thing where it seems like Godzilla is humanity's buddy, that just doesn't make any sense to me. Because with the classic Godzilla movies, 1954, 1956, you know, and then into the 60s, it started out as Godzilla versus humanity, and then Godzilla versus these other monsters. But even when Godzilla was against these other monsters, he was still against humanity because it's, you know, obviously it's a story about nuclear power and the terrible things that men do.
Okay, I concur.
Yeah.
What I would throw on that is like some of those movies, because I've seen a good amount of them. You know, I used to watch Son of Svengoolie on Channel 32 back in the day. Yeah, because I'm old.
Oh, Svengoolie's awesome.
Oh yeah. But a lot of those, they were actually like cheering for Godzilla because he was like helping them out and stuff.
He was.
I mean, at least a couple of them I saw that. They were like, Gojira.
Oh yeah, Gojira was always rooting for. The people were always rooting for Godzilla when he was fighting the other monsters. You know, this is not a debatable fact. You know,
but we digress.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get back to the movie. Okay, first of all, they kill off Bryan Cranston 30 minutes into the movie. Why? Why would you do that?
Because they ran out of budget.
They must have. I mean, if you get Cranston to do a movie for you, or do you not write him a huge part, and make him the focal point of the movie, which is what I would have done.
At this point, with what Bryan Cranston has done and is doing, if you're going to have him in your movie, you might as well have him in your movie.
Yes.
It almost feels like Arnold Schwarzenegger in those Expendables.
Yeah. I mean, he was in a little bit more in the second one, but the first one, it just felt like a cheat.
They have him in there just to say that they have him in there.
And Bruce Willis was in that too. And that was another cheat, I felt like, But they were in it more in the second one. It's like, yeah, it's all right, but the movie wasn't great. So, anyway, we're digressing again.
Let's go back to the Godzilla movie.
Let's talk about that.
Well, okay, it starts out 15 years ago, 1999, and you have Bryan Cranston as the very highly overworked foreman of the Jujira plant in Tokyo, And all of a sudden, they start reading these seismic echolocation waves, and he realizes something bad is going to happen. He wants to shut the plant down. His wife is there. She's one of the analysts for the monitors and everything. Everything falls apart. The reactor starts falling down because of seismic activity, very localized seismic activity. In the meantime, there's a archaeological expedition that finds a couple of spore pods, one of them open, one of them closed.
The spore pods.
Those
are gross as fuck.
And like a mining area where they find a Godzilla skeleton. So that makes me think it's a Biollante.
Right.
You know, but the monster that comes out of the spore pods looks a little bit more like Mothra. So I'm not really sure which one they're going for there.
Yeah, I think it was an amalgamation.
Yeah, because Mothra came from Moja Island. And originally Mothra was simply the thing, not Mothra. You know,
they changed the title for American audiences.
Yeah, but in the title of the movie it says Godzilla versus the Thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm just saying they probably changed the title.
Yeah, they did. Well, yeah, they did.
And then sold it to Americans. Yeah. All right, so keep going.
Well, they find this cavern. It's got the spore pods. One of them is gone. And there's a track to the ocean. You know, they discover that these beasts have been sucking up the radiation from this nuclear power plant and stuff. And that kind of makes sense. You know, they're trying to contain it. They've been analyzing it and stuff. Well, eventually this beast goes and wakes up, and he sends out a message, and the message is to its female counterpart, which is buried somewhere deep in the Yucca, Nevada area where we store all of our nuclear waste.
Right. Yeah. Like right around Las Vegas.
Yeah.
It's got to come out of somewhere where there's a huge city that it can fuck up immediately.
Oh, of course.
Which is what it did.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Which
is cool because that's what Godzilla's supposed to do.
I mean, yeah.
It's going to fuck up cities.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing I would put out there is I didn't think there was enough of the monsters fighting. I feel like I mean, if you look at it on first scene when Godzilla and the what the hell was it, the Mota or something,
Mothra, Biollante,
it's about something. Yeah, right, exactly. And they start fighting, and it's like boom, they cut away, and then you see a little kid sitting on a couch, and he's watching the fight on the TV, and you can see it, but it's on a little TV. It's like, no, man, we wanted to see the battle.
Right.
And then after that, all you see is the distraction. There's like
now, that
more.
That element, I did like that, honestly.
No, I've heard some people did like that.
Because it adds kind of the human element of this kid watching this stuff, and it's a little bit of, he's the son of kind of the main character, and he's watching
he's
on the
like
news,
kick-ass.
and his mom is trying to go and get ready for work or do something. So that makes sense.
Oh my god, he was so boring in that.
Yeah,
I mean, Cranston, for the time that Cranston was on the screen, he was fantastic. I mean, like Breaking Bad, fantastic, man. It was great. And then boom, he's dead, and then we shift everything over to his son, who's the kid from Kick-Ass.
Yeah. Pretty boring.
And he's boring, and his wife's boring, and his kid's boring. And, I just felt like they lost the focus right there. There wasn't really anything to care about because the guy was fucking boring.
Now at this point, I hope you've seen the movie. I mean, it's worth going to see it because it's still better than Sony, what they did.
Yeah, right.
Whatever you have to pay to go see it, or you get it off the cams on the internets. Go and see the movie, at least witness it. But there's some things that really bother me. They talk about how the creatures, the Biollante Mothra amalgamation, how it was eating up radiation and stuff, and they had been keeping one of the spore pods at the Yucca radiation storage facility, and it busts out of it. And I don't understand why, if it had been eating radiation, why it busted out of the storage facility and went to attack Las Vegas rather than just staying at this facility and eating the radioactive shit there.
Yeah, right. That would make more sense.
And then the government goes and takes a train and loads it with some nuclear weapons to lure these creatures. Why wouldn't it have just stayed there? and ate the radioactive shit.
No, that didn't make any sense to me either. I mean,
Yeah,
a lot of things about this movie didn't make sense to me.
Honestly, at that point, I fell asleep in the theater.
He actually did. I didn't know it. He fell asleep for the last, 20 minutes?
Oh, half hour, 20
Half
minutes
hour,
or so.
something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had to wake him up after the credits rolled.
Now let's back up a little bit. You've got Godzilla swimming across the Pacific Ocean from Japan to fucking the east coast of America. And the entire time he's got this honor guard of the Saratoga and a bunch of battleships and cruisers and stuff.
Yeah, an escort.
Which makes no sense to me. Whenever Godzilla has been the hero in the movie, when he's fought some other monster, he's still never been the friend of mankind. Godzilla was created because of the nuclear problems that mankind created. So why would he allow them to do that without fucking those nuclear-powered ships up anyway?
Yeah, it kind of seemed like he was a pet to the humans.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you say, man, he's getting this escort and he's just cruising along in the water. Yeah, there's 5 or 10 ships.
Oh yeah, it's a whole fleet. It's an armada.
Fleet.
The person that would have been in charge of it would have been labeled a Commodore. You know, he would have had the fancy hat.
Right. Yeah, and then again, it's like what Godzilla just decides not to attack all these ships that are next to him.
Makes no sense to me.
He would have just.
Yeah, he would have pummeled them.
Yeah.
He would have been like, oh, bonus XP on the way.
Yeah, right. Yeah. XP, level up.
I would have to say, actually, for me, the best part of the movie were the opening credits. And as the opening credits came up and it said, executive producer, blah, 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 it would say something like, executive producer of fire breathing. And then the fire breathing was redacted. You know, marked out.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was very cool.
Yes, marked out for our viewers who don't have a vocabulary.
Yeah.
Probably shouldn't have said
or weren't able
a bunch of people
or weren't intelligent enough to be able to read quick enough for what was being put on the screen.
Yes, redacted means marked out with marked out. That's all it means. Yeah.
We should have had to explain that to anybody.
You know what? Let's cut it there.